Hey guys, back again. It's been a week or two, I think, since I've done a review, and like I said, I'm still trying to get back to some normalcy. I'm working a whole lot at my job. I'm not going to say what kind of job it is, or I'm not going to say what the place is called that I work at, but I've got a retail job, and of course, right now, working retail is still kicking my butt. I'm working like 6 days a week kind of thing, so it's been hard to make reviews. Still, it's just been pretty difficult, and with all the stuff going on last couple months, it's been like I'm just trying to catch up. So right here, for today's reviews, I watched one, two, three, four, five, 6 movies, and I finished 2 TV shows. And I usually don't talk about TV shows on this channel much, but I'm gonna start doing that because I've been watching more TV shows. That's also another reason why I haven't been watching as many movies, but I've still watched a good amount. In the past week, I've watched 6 of them. Um, so the first off, let's talk about Humanoids from the Deep, which I watched on the last drive-in. Joe Bob Briggs. The last episode that I needed to watch to completely watch, I think almost the majority of his Shutter episodes I have watched. There's a couple that aren't available, but now we've got the Just Joe Bob segments, as well, which I think is great that they put that on there because there's a lot of movies that go away with rights, so you can't always go back to his segments, but now you can, so that's awesome. But I've seen a majority of his stuff, and this last season, season 3, I watched every episode. It took me a while to watch the last couple because, like I said, these last couple months have been weird. But this was the last episode for Roger Corman night. The first episode was Little Shop of Horrors, which I reviewed in the last time on the last video I did, which I liked a lot, but I love the remake more with that Frank Oz did. Um, but Humanoids from the Deep was the second Roger Corman movie for Roger Corman night. Had not seen this one before. It is about a creature from the deep, a mutated humanoid that goes around and kills a lot of guys and rapes a lot of women. And that's bad to say. That sounds really bad just immediately saying it like that, but that is kind of what the movie is. Um, it is a movie of its time, most definitely from 1980. The thing that's weird about this one is it's kind of forgettable to me. Like, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was just like whatever. Like, it wasn't anything super special, except for it had some really good gore effects. Like, the gore effects were good. It had a good ending, like, scene, but the ending scene is literally just alien. And you'll know exactly what I mean when you watch the movie if you've seen Humanoids from the Deep. Or it's like the scene in the Fly remake, David Cronenberg. Again, if you watch this movie, you'll know exactly what it is. Even though the Fly remake came out 6 years after this, 1986. But it's so weird that Humanoids from the Deep had that ending like that. Like, I wasn't expecting that. It was still effective, and the movie does have some good gore, but it's just really forgettable. It's not anything that I'm gonna remember in the long run of like horror movies that I've seen. It's totally serviceable. The score is by James Horner, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't realize that until the end of the movie that James Horner did the score, and I love James Horner scores, and I really still listen to his stuff, even after his passing. I think since 2016 he passed. It was really horrible, but I really love his music, and his music still will live on forever. Like, his music from like The Amazing Spider-Man, Casper, I think Titanic. He's done fantastic music, fantastic musical scores, and I love his music. So it's funny to see him do a movie like this with this kind of score. Um, so yeah, Humanoids from the Deep was kind of forgettable. It had some good effects, like I said. But really, I don't remember much about it. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just whatever in terms of entertainment for me. Then I watched Visiting Hours, which Visiting Hours, I got the Scream Factory Blu-ray with Bad Dreams, the 2-pack Bad Dreams and Visiting Hours. Visiting Hours is weird to watch this right after I watched X-Ray, or aka Hospital Massacre, the movie that I watched last week. X-Ray was a movie very similar to this. In a hospital, it's a slasher movie again. But I really liked X-Ray a lot more. I thought that was way more entertaining. Visiting Hours plays the more serious route, but I didn't really care. Like, I thought it was just kind of uninteresting. Like, I thought that the portrayal of the killer was creepy. I thought that the main girl was really good. I thought that it had some good things about it, but in terms of entertainment, I usually look for more entertaining aspects in these slashers, and this one is not as entertaining as X-Ray, which, if I didn't watch X-Ray recently too, I wondered if I would have felt the same way, um, but Visiting Hours, I thought, still was effective in its execution, but it just didn't. It. I feel biased because, like I said, I thought X-Ray was a way more fun slasher, and they're both slashers set in a hospital where a main girl has to get away and is being framed, or is people thinking she's more crazy because there's a murder around but nobody sees it, and she like has to save the day, and that's and I liked the X-Ray version of that better than Visiting Hours, which I still thought was fine. Like Visiting Hours was solid enough, but I'm getting the two honestly kind of mixed up. But I remember more things about X-Ray than I do Visiting Hours. So Visiting Hours, like I said, is totally fine, but it's not anything that I will really rewatch much. And then I watched for the first time. I was so excited because I found on, I think it was Amazon Prime, that they had Frankenhooker. And I have not seen Frankenhooker, which is a Frankenwater horror movie, a horror comedy. And I really thought that this one was so funny. I really like this one. So it is the Frankenstein story, except for this guy his girlfriend gets killed, and then he blows up a lot of hookers and all their body parts he makes into his old girlfriend. Like he uses her head and he uses body parts from old hookers, so she becomes Frankenhooker, and she goes around and starts shocking people, and wants some sex. And it's really funny, and I really liked it a lot. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought both the actors, the main guy and the main girl, are really, really good. I thought the main girl in particular was really hilarious. The way she would just grit her mouth like this, it just was really funny how she looked. She did a good job of portraying feeling like a real like Frankenstein monster, but being really funny with her lines where she says to random people, "You want some action? You want to come get some?" Like kind of like that. And I thought that it gave off a good sense of humor to it. And it has an ending where I should have expected this, but it really takes the cake in being so fun at the ending with what happens. And I won't say here, but it's hilarious. It was a great way to end Frankenhooker. Really fun, really cheesy, really fun effects. Frankenwater, that's awesome to see another movie of his, because I really like his other movies that I've seen of his, like Basket Case. But yeah, really, really entertaining. And then I watched. Oh yeah, and I got one pickup. So I guess I'm gonna say pickup as well. It's not a movie, but it's a NECA. But the reason I'm gonna show this pickup is because I watched this movie afterward, because I got this pickup that day. But I got the Puppet Master Tunneler and Pinhead NECA, and this is so cool. It is literally like a chest, like from the movie, and like inside it's got both of them. It's so awesome. They're really small NECAs, but they're so cool, and I want to get the Blade and Torch one now. But the reason why I showed this off is because I bought this, and I wanted to buy the other 2-pack, but I didn't see it. But I saw this, and I'm like, shit, I need to watch Elvira's Puppet Master episode. Because I've watched a couple of Elvira Mistress of the Dark episodes. I haven't seen a lot. I really haven't seen many. I know I've seen a couple others. I think I saw the Avocado Woman in the Jungle of Death. Cannibal Woman in the Avocado Jungle of Death, which was really funny. But that was another Elvira one. But I haven't seen a lot of her stuff. I've seen the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, but I haven't really seen a lot of her episodes. So I saw that Puppet Master, the first one, she did an episode on. And she does some good work in that one. That one's really funny. She does a lot of good jokes in the first Puppet Master, because the first Puppet Master movie, rewatching it, is pretty boring. The thing about the first Puppet Master, and I do like this about the franchise, is that they've got such creative designs. Like Charles Band, like with the design of these puppets, like is so cool. And the effects are cool in the first Puppet Master, and in some of the other ones too. The effects are really good for low budget, but the first Puppet Master to me can be pretty boring at times. Like it is a like 80 to 90 minute movie, and it's padded where like it's just not very interesting with these human characters. Like it's fun when you see like these puppets do what they do, like these killer puppets, like one that has leeches come out of its mouth, or one, like I said, with a drill, or one that's just got big muscles and it's just a little puppet, or like one with a blade. Um, that it's so cool with the Puppet Master designs. They're so iconic and so cool for the horror genre. But just watching the first movie again, and I've seen it a lot of times, the first Puppet Master has some good stuff to it, and it's a creative and interesting movie in its own right. For what kind of movie it is when it was made, like I really appreciate the fact with these full moon movies, um, whether they're good or entertaining or not, in a lot of ways, these full moon movies do a good job of um, being interesting and unique with the low budget and how much they can make for these low budget movies. And I like that the first Puppet Master, despite it being a little boring and slow at times, it has a lot of cool uniqueness to it and a lot of designs, especially all the puppets, which are so cool. I love the designs of all the puppets. I think they're creepy. I think they're fun. The human characters in the first one are just really boring. They're not interesting at all. I forgot that Barbara Crampton is in the first Puppet Master for like 2 minutes whenever she's talking to the psychic. And I know it sets up that the psychic is going to be a character in the movie whenever they go to the Bodega Bay or Bodega Inn or whatever. But like, it's funny to see Barbara Crampton in one scene and then that's it. Like I just was I that's why I probably forgot she was in the movie, because she's only in one scene. Because whenever I saw Barbara Crampton, I'm like, oh, was she like in the movie more? Because I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years. But no, she was just in that one scene. But it's cool to see Barbara Crampton. But like I said, the human characters are uninteresting, but the puppets, really great designs. The gore is cool and effective, and I think that I like this franchise, and I have seen all of them except for I think there's like a new Blade one, like Iron Cross or something weird like that just came out. I don't understand. Um, I saw a DVD, like a legit DVD, at like a store for that movie, but I just didn't hear much news for this Blade movie. Like I know that the last Puppet Master movie before that was The Littlest Reich, which I thought was awesome. But the Blade one heard nothing about really, so I don't understand. Like I need to watch it, but I don't understand how it. I kind of just slipped my mind. Like I just kind of forgot about it. But I've seen every other Puppet Master movie besides that, I believe. Um, I think I've seen every one of them. Or actually, maybe I can't remember. I might not have seen Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Um, I know I've seen Doll Man versus Demonic Toys, but I can't remember if I've seen Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. And these are confusing in their own right. Like there's so many Puppet Master movies. There's a lot of different full moon stuff. So like I'm getting kind of confused because I can't remember if I've seen Demonic Toys and versus Puppet Master. I can't remember, but I know I've seen almost all of them except I guess two if you're counting the Versus movie and Blade, the new one. But I've seen all the other Puppet Master movies, so and it's a franchise that I enjoy. Some it's definitely a franchise that as it goes along, there's some really really terrible ones, but there's some ones that are interesting, and I remember liking like at least half of them. But yeah, Puppet Master, like I said, bought the NECA. I really want to get the other 2-pack because this is so cool. Like I said, I got to show off again how beautiful this is. It's just so cool with the designs of both of them, like legitimately having them. That's so cool. Like I said, the puppets are the most interesting thing about Puppet Master 1. And I like the Elvira jokes on hers whenever they're running down the stairs, the main characters. And they're running down the stairs for it feels like 5 minutes long with the same musical score. And Elvira's going here using the musical instruments, just like blah, 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 like just having the music go on. And that's how I felt in that moment because it was so long. But like I said, Puppet Master, the first one, is creative and interesting, but it's also pretty boring. So I do like it, but I also am. It's not one I go back to much, but I appreciate everything it did for the horror. For the low budget horror genre, definitely, because it is a really cool low budget horror movie, just not the most interesting. But it's got great memorable designs of the puppets. Um, so yeah, Puppet Master was like I said, fine like usual. Then I watched Vault of Horror, which I don't remember that much about. Vault of Horror, I bought the 2-pack with Tales from the Crypt 1972, the movie, and then Vault of Horror is the sequel to it, even though I didn't know that. Watching Vault of Horror. Vault of Horror, really, I don't remember much about it, actually, now that I think about it. I remember it had a lot of different segments, like Tales from the Crypt. I remember there was one about vampires. Um, and I remember really not that much about it. And it's bad to say, like, I watched this like a week ago, but I don't really remember much. Like, and I paid attention to it, but I just don't think this one really didn't make that much of an impact on me. Like, to really, there's another one, I guess, now that I remember. A guy is buried alive, and he's gonna get out eventually, but maybe he won't, kind of thing. Um, but those are the only two that I really remember, and there were a lot of segments. It's really a movie that, the more I think about it, like, it's only been a week and I already forgot about it. That's not a good sign. Really, yeah, honestly. I think I remember the woman from Mary Poppins was in it. Like, it looked like the woman from Mary Poppins, the one who was the mom, like, of the kids. And it was funny to see her in this, or at least it really looked like her. I'm gonna have to look and see if that's the same actress, but it really looked like the same actress. But yeah, Vault of Horror, really, there's not much I can say about it. Like, cause like I said, I already forgot about it. It wasn't very memorable, I guess. Um, and then I watched a movie in the theater. So we got the new Candyman 2021. Uh, Candyman, I really love the first one. The first one is fantastic, and have seen the second one, and I like the second one from what I remember, but it wasn't as good as the first one, of course. And I have not seen Candyman 3, Day of the Dead, and I can't find it anywhere on streaming, and I want to buy it, but I haven't found it anywhere to buy it. Like, it's weird. That movie is really not that much available. I hear it's terrible, the third one, but I do want to see it. I do want to, because I'm such a completionist with the franchise, I gotta see them all, or at least I gotta eventually see them all. And Candyman 3 has, I have just not been able to see it yet, so I do want to see it. Next time I go to, like, a local, or not a local, a DVD shop or a Blu-ray shop, I'm gonna see if I can find it, because I hope that they have it at, like, a vintage stock or something, because that's what I go to. But I haven't seen Candyman 3, and this one, I guess, is a direct sequel to the first one, Candyman, the new one, even though they show the scene through puppets of part 2, like showing the past of Daniel Roebuck. But Candyman, like I said, it is essentially just a sequel to the first one, even though, like I said, it shows kind of that scene from 2 where, like, he's lynched and covered in honey and killed by the bees and burned. But this one is very, very fascinating, this new Candyman, because I don't want to, it's going to be hard to it's going to be treading on water talking about this movie, because Candyman, the new one, it's got a lot of polarizing reception to it, because it's weird. I'll say overall, my thoughts for the new Candyman is I liked it. I thought it was good. And again, I'm treading on water here because it's so hard to give a criticism to something about a movie like this, because, for example, I'll give an example. The first Candyman is, of course, embedded in the fact, and Candyman 2 is embedded in the fact that these are characters that are stuck in a situation where you are seeing the point of view from oppression and showing bad things happening with African Americans. And it is, the first movie, I thought, did a great job of not hammering in the fact that it's like that, even though it's horrible for that sake. But the thing about this movie, and it doesn't happen much, it happens maybe like 2 or 3 times. The dialogue in this movie while I really like this movie, the dialogue in this kind of bugged me because you have the first Candyman movie, which is embedded in the fact of oppression and race, but it doesn't have to point out all the time that it is. It's more of a see don't tell movie. The first one, like there is description of it, but the first movie didn't have to explain or hammer in the fact of pushing the agenda. And I'm not saying that that's bad at all. I'm just saying that looking at the first Candyman versus this one, where in this one you've got dialogue like, and then the black man took, and then the white man took all this away from us, kind of thing, and it just feels like it's not very smartly done. It feels like you didn't have to point out dialogue like that. You could just let a scene go. You don't have to stop the movie flat to make a point about oppression. You In the first Candyman movie, they didn't do that. They made the movie. That's why the first movie is so great. You don't have to hammer in the fact of pushing something or the idea of oppression and having horrible things happen. But in this movie, it speaks too much, where it just feels like it's hammering you over the head with it in a not a good way. I don't think. Because like I'm saying, it's not like I'm against that. Of course not. There has been horrible things like this that have happened forever, and I just feel like this dialogue, though, was just way too on the nose in a couple instances, and on the whole movie, just like a couple times. And there's one more argument I'll make, and I'm treading really, really, really hard water right here. Like I'm treading water here because it's one of those movies where you've it's got cops in it, but there are no black cops in this universe, and every cop in the movie is a racist. And like I said, in the real world, there is of course so many racist cops, but there are also good cops. But in this movie, it just felt like it was very simplified, where it's like it's just all cops are bad, or a lot of white people are just horrible, kind of thing. And I feel like it's just whenever dialogue like that is executed in that way, or whenever, like in this movie, they're all just white cops and they're all racist, like it doesn't feel real. Because I always look on this spectrum of politicalness where you've got sides where one side is like, less, where one side of the equation is so like just kind of for them kind of thing, and then there's one side who says they're for everybody, but then they're acting like all cops are evil, and like one side acts like the white people are the higher ones, like that kind of thing. Like I hate that political spectrum where no matter which side you're on, you're gonna look at a situation, but it's kind of one-sided, because I feel like in the world there are not just evil cops, and they're not all racist, and there are black cops in the world too. But in this movie, it just felt like, of course, the message is good, because this shit does really happen. There are horrible cops in the world, and there are racist cops, but that does not mean that every one of them is that. But this movie cartoonishly made it at the end of the movie feel like it was just that, and I don't like that. Talking about equality here, like it's hard to, it's such a hard subject, because I understand you've got to have a point made, and I understand the point they're making in the movie, but it just feels like it's just kind of one-sided completely, and I don't know. I really, it's kind of an example of that political spectrum we have, where we just got two sides of the political parties, and we're going to treat it like one side hates cops, one side doesn't, kind of thing. And it feels like it's kind of a political agenda, even though the story and this stuff really does happen. Like, I completely agree, but I just feel like it's cartoonishly done in this movie. Like, it doesn't feel like it's really speaking to much. It's just kind of the simplest, like, oh, these people are bad kind of thing. These cops are bad. Or most white people are bad kind of thing. And like I said, it just annoys me, because I feel like we're at a point in the world now where we get it's like I said, it's so hard with politics because we have two cartoonishly clownish political parties that are both saying the opposite things, and it just ruins it for everybody. And it makes both of them give their messages stronger, but then it just feels like it's more silly, like in terms of that, like in terms of the execution in this. Like I said, the message is still fine, and it's something that really happens in real life, but it's just feels cartoony in this movie. Like it doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't feel like it's that real. Like it feels like it's completely one-sided. And like I said, treading water here, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, not trying to feel one way or the other. I hate politics. I hate being on either side of this political spectrum, but I just don't I think that stuff like that is silly. Like, for example, Black Christmas 2019 was another Universal movie um, that did the same thing, but with being a feminist in that movie, where there's one good white guy or one good guy in the Black Christmas remake 2019. There's only one good guy, or two good guys, I guess, but one guy gets killed. But there's two good males in the world, and every other male is a sexist and a rapist. So it's like that. It's like cartoonishly. It's not as bad as that movie did it, Black Christmas 2019. Black Christmas 2019, I honestly really liked for being how ridiculously over the top it was, but it reminds me of that, where it's like bunching together just the idea of, in that movie, like, oh, every male is just the worst thing ever. Like, there's no good males except for maybe two in the world, like that movie was implying. Just like this movie's implying, like, every single cop is white and is a racist. There's no black cops and there's no non-racist cops. Like, it feels like that in this movie. And it's weird. I'm getting more worked up than I should be because these are just little things in the movie. There's only like three pieces of dialogue, I think, that stop the movie flat and just kind of give the message, but it stops the movie, and I didn't feel like it needed it. Like in the first Candyman, it involves race, involves oppression, but it doesn't point out the fact all the time. The movie is just showing that this is how it is, not the fact that it's trying to change an agenda. And like I said, it's a thing that, of course, needs to be fixed, but it's just, in this movie, it feels so cartoonish, and in those moments with dialogue and just with the use of the cops. Like, I just felt like it did not completely feel legit, even though stuff like it happens in real life. But it doesn't feel like it feels like it's one-sided, for me personally. Like I said, hate me as you will. That's how I feel. But besides that, there's only one other thing that bugged me about the movie, and I thought that the side characters were a little annoying. Especially the guy who would go and just come in to do TV sitcom kind of jokes, where he'd say gay, sassy stuff, but it wouldn't be funny. It would just be silly. And I really thought, it's weird because one guy was really annoying, and then his boyfriend was like fine. Like, he was the one that he didn't say many jokes, like, but the one who was really over the top of the jokes just kind of bugged me. But the side characters are the ones that did the dialogue more, that was annoying to me, or just like on the nose. But the main character I thought was good. I thought Teyonah Parris, who was his girlfriend, and I forgot the names of the two characters already, but they were good. But him and Teyonah Parris, who was in WandaVision, they both were really good. They were a good couple, and I liked them a lot. And I liked how this movie, being a sequel to Candyman, this was really cool with the idea that they went establishing the fact that I don't want to spoil this because I thought this is a movie definitely worth watching. With a couple of qualms I had, I think it's still worth watching. But this movie does a good job of, again, I can't say it because I don't want to spoil it, but it does a good job of being really cool, showing a new lore to the Candyman legacy. Like, this does a great job. I love, too, the cinematography and atmosphere in this movie is fantastic. it is really, really good. And I like the fact that you've got the use of paper puppets or like paper cutouts, um, describing the story of the first Candyman and showing the point of view of what happened with Helen Lyle in the first movie and what she did, but the point of view is seeing what really happened is really cool. And that just really, really astounds me. Just the cinematography is so good in this movie. And the main character is really good. The two main characters are really good. Like I said, the side characters give that dialogue that stops the movie or just kind of annoying. But the main characters are good. And the cinematography is great. It is gory as can be. Like the gore is, or not as can be, it's gory. It's got some good gore shots. Um, there are some great shots. I like the fact that they play with the fact that you really don't see Candyman much in full view, and they do a really great job with it. This reminds me of something like, say, the original Halloween, where like, or the original Friday the 13th, where you don't see the killer that much. You just see like, you see the reflection through a mirror, or you see the character all the way in the background, this far away kind of thing. And it's so cool. I think that they executed the use of Candyman in this movie is so good. And I think that's one of the best things about the movie, the atmosphere, the cinematography, and the use of Candyman. And you really don't see, it does a lot of invisible things like the first movie did, where like the hook would just get somebody and pull them up kind of thing, but you don't see Candyman doing it kind of thing, which still was effective. And there is a shot in this movie, again, the cinematography is fantastic, but there's a shot of this movie where you see a character in a building, character gets pulled up and gets killed and just dragged along the wall, and then like it just zooms out of the building, like it just goes farther outside of the suburb, or not, of the building. And it is so good. So the weird thing about this movie is that really, really, I love the cinematography, the atmosphere. I really like the two main leads. I liked how the main lead, the movie feels like the Fly remake in some ways, with some gore and some gross transformation effects. I thought that was awesome. I thought the main characters were good. My qualms are just when the movie tries to push the idea and agenda of something that doesn't need to be pushed. It's something that we already feel like should be changing anyways, but whenever it's pushed like this, it's going to make people go, no, it is annoying. And it's not like the first Candyman, where the first Candyman doesn't have to push the point. It just kind of makes the movie breathe, and it lets you understand that this is a world full of oppression and race. But you don't have to point out and stop the movie like this movie does. In a couple scenes, it's like three scenes, and I think that's it. But besides pushing the idea, which, like I said, I'm of course never against, but just pushing it in and stopping the movie. The side characters were annoying, but that's it in terms of things I dislike. But the atmosphere, cinematography, the main leads, awesome, so good in a lot of ways. And it's frustrating because I want to love this movie like I love the first one. The first one is great, but I feel like the first one is a smarter movie. It didn't have to have the push we have right now in the world, because right now in the world we are just so embedded in the fact that we have politics that are ruining everything. We're like, it's either you're one side of the political spectrum or you're not this kind of person, like kind of thing. Like if you're not a leftist, you're a racist kind of thing, or like if you're right, you're a racist kind of thing. Like or you're not, like it, like that kind of thing. Like it's really just annoys me with like, we are in a world right now where we've got two political parties that will push and push both of their ideals, and neither of them give a shit about you. And I truly believe that. And that's why I hate politics, and I hate the idea that we've been ruined by it, especially this last year with the suffering of everybody suffering through all the virus and everything, and just the fact that they're just egging each other on. So, again, sorry, I don't want to talk about politics. I hate that. I hate doing that because I truly do hate them. But I feel like movies nowadays, whether, like, I agree with the message in this movie, but I just really don't like the fact that it makes you look like it makes it look like no matter what, like it's just always pushing something, which is something that people want, but it just feels so heavy handed, like in movies like this. like I said, this movie, Black Christmas 2019, did the same thing where it was just like either you're there's two nice males in the world, and then the rest of them are rapists and sexist. So it's just like that. Where like in this movie, there's just bad white cops, and there's not any black cops, kind of thing. So it's and there's always two sides to stories in terms of everything. So I'm not saying that anything like that, but I just movies like this bug me in that way. But like I said, it's got so many fantastic things this movie does to really justify seeing it. I really loved a lot of it. So definitely go see Candyman. Like, I really thought Nia DaCosta, despite a few writing things, and I don't know if she wrote it, but despite a few moments of writing in it that was just too heavy-handed and, like, too on the nose, I thought that everything else was great. Besides that and the side characters. Like, I really loved everything about the atmosphere, not showing Candyman much, the main characters, the gore, really, really fantastic, and really great made movie, just with some few qualms I have with it. But that is it on all the movies I watched, and I've got 2 TV shows I watched, and this is weird because I've started to watch TV shows more again. I really love as a kid I loved watching TV shows, and I kind of grew out of it for a while, and I watched TV shows every once in a while throughout these years, but I kind of quit, and I saw that there was the iCarly revival, and I watched the iCarly revival, which I thought was fun. The new Paramount Plus version. So I watched that. Then I went back and watched the rest of the original iCarly, which I had not seen all of. I watched up to like season 4, I think, out of 6, as a teenager. And I remember liking that show because I really like those Nickelodeon shows. I really enjoy Drake and Josh, Amanda Show, all that. I watched all those as a kid. iCarly, like I said, I got to like almost all the show, and then I quit as a teenager. And then I went back these last couple months and watched the whole series of the original iCarly series, which is about a girl named Carly who has a web show with her friend Sam and her friend Freddie and her crazy eccentric brother Spencer and their friend Gibby. And it is just a really quirky and fun show. And I really liked rewatching iCarly. Like, I didn't start at the beginning. I think I started at like season 3 because I knew I watched all those episodes, and I was really kind of lost in season 3 that I thought I watched most of them, but then I realized I did see all of them. So I watched season 3 again, and then I watched all up to the end of the show. I think it was solid throughout. It had a couple bad episodes, particularly the ones involving Victorious, which is another Nickelodeon show, which I think I'm going to watch sometime soon. It's weird. These teen sitcoms I'm not super into, but like the Nickelodeon ones I can watch. And Victorious I'm going to watch, I think, because it's got connections to iCarly, and I'm a completionist. I feel like I should watch it just to say I did. But it stinks because on iCarly, the worst episodes were the ones with the Victorious stuff. Like, there was one where she parties with Victorious, and it was one of the lamest ones. And it really turned me off with the characters from that show. But I know I'll watch it, but I just don't know how long it'll take to finish it, because I feel like it might take a while. It's like I said, I'm not super into teen sitcoms anyways, but iCarly, it kind of sold me like as a teenager, and then rewatching it, I did enjoy it legitimately throughout. Like, I thought it was fun and entertaining. So I watched the original iCarly, and then I watched Sam and Cat, which is the spin-off of iCarly and Victorious, with the character Sam from iCarly and the character Cat Valentine from Victorious. And this is very interesting because this only lasted 1 season, Sam and Cat, which is honestly a little bit of a shame because I thought it was fun. Like, it's a dumb show, but I was honestly kind of dreading it at first because I heard people say, oh, this show is so bad or so unentertaining, but I thought it was legitimately pretty entertaining. And Sam and Cat, like I said, is about Sam from iCarly who meets Cat Valentine, and they both start a babysitting service, and they have a neighbor who they hang out with, and they've also got a big wrestler dude named Goomer, who's the dumbest character. I mean, you've got Cat Valentine, who's really dumb as well, but it's just about them with wacky hijinks. And I thought it was fun, like iCarly, and I thought that it's interesting that it's only 1 season long. It's like 35 episodes, but they were going to make another season, I think, or they maybe split it because they there was so much controversy with this show, and I did not realize this until I finished the show. So Jeanette McCurdy, who plays Sam, um, who has a great podcast, by the way, called Nothing Inside on Spotify, and I listen to it all the time. She talks about with actors or whatever, people that she knows, friends, about her personal life, how she has gone through living with a mother who has since died, I think in like 2014, living with a mother who forced her into show business since she was a kid, and now Jeanette McCurdy is embarrassed of all her roles and embarrassed of Sam, embarrassed of all this, of all the roles she did, and is not going back to acting. That's why she's not in the new iCarly. But she has had a rough life with like dealing with being forced to do a job that she didn't want to do, like be an actress. Which is so weird to say because I thought that in the shows that I've seen her in, she did a good job. Like I thought that, yeah, she's got silly lines to say, but these shows are silly, like iCarly and Sam and Cat, and they're supposed to be silly, like teen shows. Like they're not going to be anything like extraordinary. They're going to be just dumb fun, and that's what I thought. I thought they were dumb fun, but I felt like I didn't realize that Jenna McCurdy was like this, like in real life, like she had been forced into this. Because watching her performances in these shows, I would have never thought. I thought she was good in all these performances she did. Like I felt like it didn't feel like she was really phoning it in, and it's so weird to see that. So we only had one season of this show because Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande apparently didn't get along, and Ariana Grande, of course, is gigantic now. Like with her music, you can hear her music all the time anywhere. Like anytime you go into a station, a pop station, you'll hear her songs. And I don't mind her music. I thought Ariana Grande does some catchy songs, but I guess they had a feud lightly, I guess, in the show, and also they both wanted to like do other things because, like I said, Jeanette McCurdy wanted to not be an actress. Ariana Grande, I'm assuming, wanted to go do more of her music, which is something that she's still exceeding with and doing fantastic with. So it's weird the show only lasted one season because I actually kind of thought it was fun. It was silly, dumb fun. Like I enjoyed it. And I watched it pretty quick. I think I watched it in the span of a couple weeks, like 35 episodes, but they're so easy to put on. They're such easy, mindless things to put on. So I enjoyed Sam and Cat and iCarly, rewatching the rest of iCarly and watching what I haven't seen before. And then Sam and Cat I enjoyed too. Then, like I said, the iCarly reboot. It's like a sequel show, which doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have Jeanette McCurdy. It has a new friend named Harper in it that Carly's friends with. And it's just iCarly again, but they're adults. And I thought that one was fun too. And it's weird because that's the one that's not like by the same writers or anything. The new iCarly is like from different like writers and everything. Like it's not involving all the people who were in iCarly or Sam and Cat or Victorious or Drake and Josh or whatever. It's all different people. And I still think that it's kind of funny. It's not anything super smart, the new iCarly show, but the other show wasn't either. It's not trying to be. I like seeing these actors back, and I think they do a fun job, and I think that they are entertaining in the new iCarly reboot. So, like I said, I watched all of those shows, all three of those shows, all three of the Paramount ones. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching those. And I'm also in the process of watching The Punisher second season because I haven't finished that. I'm going back to rewatch all the Marvel shows that I have not finished. Like The Punisher had one more season I needed to watch. I needed to watch the last season of Jessica Jones, last season of Luke Cage, and last season of Iron Fist. I finished Daredevil. Daredevil seasons 1 through 3 I finished. Legitimately awesome. I finished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this last year. So I'm trying to get on the Marvel kick and finish off the Marvel shows that I had not seen before, like all the way through. Like I said, I usually watch like I said with TV shows, I really loved watching movies, so I kind of put the TV shows to the side, so I kind of quit a lot of these shows. So I'm going back to watch more of these. Like I said, I want to watch the rest of the Marvel shows. I also started Naruto, which is an anime, and I don't talk about anime much in this channel, but I did like anime whenever I was younger. Pokemon in particular. I like Bleach, Soul Eater, Death Note a little bit. So I want to watch Naruto as well, which I watched the first two episodes, and it's fun and it's charming and it's silly. Um, but I've got a lot of TV shows to watch, but I've also got some movies I want to watch too. I know I've got Shang-Chi comes out this week, and I'm going to see that Thursday night. I actually am available to see it Thursday night. I usually work nights, so I actually am available to see it quick. So I'm excited because I can't wait to watch another Marvel movie. I always enjoy those. I want to see Jungle Cruise and Free Guy and Don't Breathe 2, but since I work so much, I don't know if I have a full chance of seeing all those in the theater. But I'll try to watch them later if I don't get to see them in the theater. But Shang-Chi will definitely be an immediate thing I can go see in the theater. Um, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Marvel this year because with Eternals and then Spider-Man, No Way Home. I legitimately am so excited for No Way Home. That's like my most anticipated now, even though I'm so excited for Halloween Kills. But Spider-Man, you won me over with showing Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 in a multiverse. Like, holy shit. Like, I'm so excited for that movie. Like, they've got to bring Toby and Andrew back. Like, I know everybody's saying that, and it's like the most viewed trailer now ever after Avengers Endgame online. So I'm so excited for Spider-Man No Way Home. I hope I see Toby and Andrew. I hope I see all the villains from the other movies because I love that, and especially Amazing Spider-Man because that they cut that franchise so quick that they didn't get a chance. Sony screwed it up, put so many characters in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and made it convoluted, even though it's got some fantastic things in that movie with the romance and the action sequences, but it's got so many characters in that movie that they just said, this didn't make as much money as we hoped, and we're just going to reboot Spider-Man in the MCU. So I'm glad that they're at least trying to bring back the Amazing Spider-Man characters, hopefully in this next movie in No Way Home. And of course, they brought back Doc Ock from the original Spider-Man trilogy, so they need to bring back Toby and bring back the other villains. Apparently, they've already, like, from the trailer alone for Spider-Man No Way Home, they had, of course, Doc Ock, you see him straight up. Then you see Lightning from Electro, and then you see Pumpkin Bomb, so Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. It has to be Willem Dafoe. I don't think it's not going to be Dane DeHaan, even though I did like where he went, and I want to see him more, but it's not going to be him. It's, of course, going to be the iconic one. And then Sandman, and then the Lizard is what people keep thinking they see it in the trailer. So that's only 5. So I'm assuming the next one is Rhino, maybe, for Amazing Spider-Man 2, because that would fill the roster between 3 villains from the Raimi trilogy and then 3 villains from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So that would work. But yeah, I'm so excited for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I just went on a weird tangent. I just randomly talked about that. But still, I'm excited for No Way Home. And that's all the movies I watched this week and all the shows I finished. If I talk about TV shows, like I said, I'm going to say what I'm watching. But if I finish a show, I'll talk about it more. Like I said, with the 2 iCarlys and the Sam and Cat, I had to talk about it because I finished those. But we'll see next week what I finish in terms of shows, because I might not talk about shows again maybe next week, but we'll see. But like I said, I've got more movies coming up in theaters I want to see. There's a couple more Scream Factories I got right over there. I've got Silent Hill, which I have not seen before, and I want to watch. Metamorphosis and Beyond Darkness 2-pack. Haven't seen or heard of either of those. And then I've got that 2-pack with Visiting Hours and Bad Dreams, so I need to watch Bad Dreams. And then I got a Clint Eastwood 4-pack, which I can't remember if I showed it in a pickups video or not. I think I did. Yeah, because I showed off the Deranged and Motel Hell 2-pack. But I've got a Clint Eastwood comedy stack as well. So I want to watch some comedies as well, because Clint Eastwood is great. And I'm still glad he's making movies at like 90. He's got another one coming out soon, I think. I forgot what it's called, but I'm excited. But yeah, like I said, more movies coming out soon. I'll try to watch more this week and do another kind of catch up next week. So I'll see you guys later. Like I said, I'm sorry that I'm not doing as many like singular videos, but it's just been, I've had a major life change, and it's hard to legitimately get back to it quick. So this is the way I'm going to cope with it right now. So we'll keep going, of course. So like I said, I've got another video coming up, but it just might be in a week or so. Or we'll see. It just depends. So that is it for today. And I spent a whole whopping 15 minutes talking about all the movies, TV shows. So I'm excited for next week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.